Welcome back to the Morning Blend. Here's a very sobering number, 50. That is the number of pedestrians who were hit by vehicles and killed in Wisconsin last year, and that was up 22% from the previous year. So in an effort to keep people safe, the Wisconsin Bike Fed is stepping in to remind motorists to yield to pedestrians with Share and Be Aware.
Tom Held is back to promote safety for those traveling on foot. Thanks for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, I think those numbers are shocking. I don't know if some of it's related to cell phone use or us just being busier and faster paced or people not knowing the rules. But either way, these are important rules that we need as drivers and pedestrians to be aware of, right?
Right. From the law enforcement people I've talked to, anecdotally, yes, distracted driving is on the increase. Part of that gets to cell phone usage. But there is, I think, a decline in the awareness of that law that requires motorists to yield to pedestrians at a crosswalk. And that doesn't have to have white lines or flashing yellow lights. Any natural extension of a sidewalk constitutes a crosswalk. And of the fatalities, there was a 3-year study, 25% of the pedestrians killed were killed by motorists who failed to yield to them in a crosswalk.
Yeah.
This is one of the most basic elements of driving, in my view, is to watch out for other people and not hit another person.
Well, it's funny because years ago, I didn't know anybody who'd been a pedestrian was hit by a car. I saw someone hit by a car walking when I was in Chicago maybe 5 years ago. And since then, I've had 2 adult friends, one a friend's mom and another someone I worked with, both hit and one actually run over by a car, and this failure to yield that you're talking about. So it's very real, and I think people also need to understand there are probably some common things that happen in these crashes, right?
Right. I think speed also plays a role. We find that a lot. Just as an example, if you're traveling at 20 miles an hour, your stopping distance is about 40 feet. So on a city street, 20 to 25 miles an hour may seem slow, but it's a reasonable and it's a safe approach. If you get up to 40 miles an hour, you've tripled that stopping distance. Now you're at 120 miles an hour. And if you're traveling at 40 miles an hour and you hit somebody, the chances, the numbers of times when you're going to kill them is 85%.
Yeah.
You back that down and slow down to 20%. That survival rate goes up to 95%. You're only 5% likely to kill them in that situation. So when we're in this rush to get somewhere, what are we really sacrificing for that? We're creating a lethal situation on the road in order to serve our own selfish interest, perhaps.
Yeah. Us being late or, being distracted or whatnot.
Right.
So the answer to that question too, the right-of-way always belongs to the pedestrian?
Except there is a caveat to that.
Okay.
You have to provide a reasonable stopping distance.
Okay.
You can't dart out into the street without giving a reasonable stopping distance. That's a half a block.
Okay.
But again, that gets to the speed, because a reasonable stopping distance, if you're traveling the speed limit, is different than if you're 15 miles per hour over the speed limit. And I think we all know, as we've seen people driving and we've seen the flashing speed monitors,
yes,
the preponderance of speeding in urban areas with children, etc. And just this lack of awareness, I think motorists have tended to get away from this idea that if I'm driving, I have to be watching for potential hazards, not only to protect myself, to protect others.
Yes.
That's why we say stop for your neighbor, yield to your neighbor.
Now, you have this website. We want to put it up. shareandbeaware.org is the website. If people go there throughout this month, they can find out about some great Wisconsin Walks Month activities, things going on with this mission in mind to keep people safer on the road, drivers, but as well as pedestrians and people riding their bikes.
Right. And that there's responsibility on both parts of that. There is a fairly significant percentage of pedestrian injuries and fatalities that occur mid-block. If you're crossing mid-block, that right-of-way is not yours at that point in time. At the crosswalk. And I think we all see this. Someone will be standing 10 feet from a crosswalk, but it's the shortest point, the shortest distance between 2 points. But you're increasing your safety so much.
If you go to the crosswalk.
Right.
Thank you so much,
Right.
Tom.
Yeah.
Shareandbeaware.org.